Our Heavenly Father, we humbly thank you for all the gifts we receive. We ask that you watch over the men and women who serve in our armed forces as well as all of our emergency responders. And I ask for wisdom and understanding for this court. Grant us the humility in our everyday life and give us the courage to make right decisions for our Daviess County community. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, I want to welcome everyone to our August 4, 2016 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Jenny, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Item 1, consideration for approval, A, minutes of the July 21st, 2016 court meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion. Second, Commissioners, you've had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Again, Commissioners, you've had a copy of all the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court. Do you have any questions of the Treasurer at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
C, fund transfer.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
Question permission to transfer $84,000 from the general fund to the LGEA fund. Basically, we received reimbursements for the co-severance grants. We have to go into a non-deductible account. That account is in the general fund, so I'm just returning the revenues to that fund, so we'll comply with our budget for the current year. I request permission to make that transfer.
Question or comment, Commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
E, award bid numbers 21 through 28, 2016.
Do we do D?
Treasurer's settlement ending fiscal year June 30, 2016.
I need a
Move to
motion.
approve.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
Normally, the treasurer's report monthly are just for presentation, but the end of the year one is actually the treasurer's settlement. It must be voted on by court. You've had it to review. Fiscal court finances came in within the expected levels. Financial position is good. The financial statements were prepared in accordance with our rules as governed by the state of Kentucky and is watched over by the Department of Local Government. I have provided them and the auditor with a copy of those financial statements. In the reading, you will see that they do not and are not intended to comply with general accepted accounting principles, but they do comply with what we are required to do our books on, which is the regulatory method of accounting. They were prepared properly. All bills were paid. There are no outstanding obligations that were not identified, and all cash has been accounted for. So with that, I would request approval of the statement or answer any questions that you have.
Question or comment, Commissioners? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Jenny, you read through all the bids, and then Jordan will ask you to explain them. Then you explain each one. I'll ask for any comment, and then we will accept them as a whole.
Yes, sir. E, award bids number 21 through 28, 2016. 21, PVC pipe landfill. 22, 6 new self-contained breathing apparatuses for the fire department. 23, 16, 1 new or used front-end loader road department. 24, 16, 1 new single axle dump truck with contractor's bed road department. 25, 16, 1 new waste handling arrangement dozer landfill. 26, 16, 1 new fifth wheel road tractor transfer station. 26, 16, 2 new open top walking floor trailers transfer station. 28, 16, full body scanning security system, Daviess County Detention Center.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Jordan, would you go through each of those bids, explain to us what they are, and then we'll ask if there are any questions at the end of each one.
Certainly, Judge. Bid number 21, 2016 is for 8-inch diameter perforated STR 17 PVC pipe. This will be delivered to the landfill for cell construction. Daviess County Fiscal Court received 2 bids. Consolidated pipe is the lowest and best evaluated bid in the amount of $38,769.50. This bid had no exceptions to our specifications. I recommend award.
Commissioners, question or comment? Next one, Jordan.
Bid number 22, 2016 is for 6 new SCBA units for the fire department. Davis County Fiscal Court received 1 bid from Fire Department Services and Supply in the amount of $39,150. This bid had no exceptions to our specifications. I recommend award.
Question or comment? Next item.
Bid number 23, 2016 is for a newer used front-end loader for the road department. Davis County Fiscal Court received 5 bids. The bid of Herb Equipment for a 2016 John Deere 644K in the amount of $194,351 is the best evaluated bid, meeting all our specifications without exception. I recommend award.
Any question or comment, Commissioners? Jordan, I think that maybe you do a little explanation there as to how we arrived at the new unit as opposed to the used unit.
Certainly. It should be noted that the lowest bid received was a used loader with 1,900 hours. We typically keep our front-end loaders for around 8,700 hours total, which is about 25 years. The used loader would, under perfect conditions, last us a total of 19 years. From a life cost analysis, Herb Equipment's unit is cheaper on an annual basis in reference to how long we will operate it. In addition to this, the new unit comes with 12 months of full warranty.
Okay. Good analysis there. Any question or comment? Next one, Jordan.
Bid number 24, 2016 is for a new single-axle dump truck with a contractor's bid for the road department. Davis County Fiscal Court received 4 bids. The bid of Sternberg International for a 2017 Workstar 7400 in the amount of $99,380 is the lowest and best evaluated bid. Having no exceptions to our specifications, I recommend award.
Commissioners, question or comment? Next item.
Bid number 25, 2016 is for a new waste handling arrangement dozer for the landfill. Davis County Fiscal Court received 3 bids. The bid of Wayne Supply for the 2016 CAT D8T waste handler in the amount of $611,599 is the best evaluated bid. Having no exceptions to our specifications, I recommend award.
Jordan, you want to explain why we're not going to take the cheapest bid there, the analysis that you did?
Certainly, Judge. Because we run this machine in excess of 26,000 hours over the life, we conducted a fuel efficiency analysis, in which case we found that CAT was less expensive than the second highest bid and roughly 1.4% more expensive than the lowest bid. We feel that several factors justify the 1.4% differential, which include the final drive arrangement, which should result in lower maintenance costs over the life of the machine, the fact the landfill has made significant investments in mechanic staff training and diagnostic equipment specific to CAT machines, and the fact that the design of the CAT track would lower the time required for track cleaning by landfill staff.
Okay, that's that famous triangle, isn't it, where you've got to drive up high and out of the materials in the landfill?
Yes, sir, and that is a proprietary design.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like it's better, we get better fuel efficiency with it,
Yes.
the spraying?
Mhm.
Yeah,
'Cause I know that you run records and yearly records, and y'all keep good tabs of all kinds of things, and fuel's a big, important issue.
Yes, we have over 20 years of fuel data for CAT equipment. We used industry averages for the other 2 pieces of equipment. So, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Next one, Jordan.
Bid number 26, 2016 was for a new or used fifth wheel road tractor for the Grimes Avenue Transfer Station. Davis County Fiscal Court received 4 bids. The bid of Vomac Truck Sales for the 2016 Volvo VNL 46T 300 in the amount of $101,916 is the best evaluated bid. Having no exceptions to the bid documentation, I recommend award.
Okay, again, Jordan, we're going to pay a little more for the Volvo as opposed to the lowest bid.
Yes, sir. These trucks travel approximately 60,000 miles per year. We have all units that were bid represented in our fleet, have extensive fuel data on each. After a fuel efficiency analysis, going with the next highest bid over the lowest will save us roughly $31,000 over the 10-year life. Since this difference is less than the 2,600, we recommend awarding the Volvo unit.
So we net about $28,000 in fuel savings.
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
And Jordan, what year are we buying of this vehicle?
A 2017.
2017, okay.
Any other question? Next one, Jordan.
Bid number 27-2016 is for 2 new open-top walking floor trailers for the Grimes Avenue Transfer Station. Davis County Fiscal Court received 4 bids. The bid of Vomac Truck Sales for 2 2017 East Unloaders in the amount of $121,370 is the best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our specifications. I recommend award.
Jordan, once again, you want to explain to us why we're going to pay a little more?
Certainly. It should be noted that the MAC moving floor units only recently changed their cross-member configuration to meet our specifications. Since the cross-members bear the majority of the stress and weight for pulling the trailers, we would like to wait until there is significant data.
And we had a couple of these in prior years, and they didn't last very long because of that very reason. So this is an update, an upgrade, but we've been very satisfied with the other unit.
That is correct.
Any question or comment? I think the other units are easier to repair as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, next item.
Bid number 28-2016 is for a full-body scanning security system for the detention center. Davis County Fiscal Court received 1 bid, the bid of Adani Systems Incorporated for a Compass DV unit in the amount of $145,000, meets all of our specifications without exception. I recommend award.
Jordan, just in the interest of full disclosure, we had a bid from another company that we rejected. We submitted, or we asked for a new bid, and that company chose not to bid this time. Do you know why?
They could not meet the options that we had added in our specifications. They were free to bid with exceptions for the court to evaluate, but they chose not to.
Okay. And this is, the jailer is okay with this particular unit? He's
Very
done
much
his
so.
research, and we've done our research?
Yes.
Okay.
A question, Judge.
Yes.
Excuse me. Jordan, was this under the jailer's budget?
Yes, it was. It came in $5,000 under the budgeted amount.
Thank you.
When will it be delivered if we order it?
60 days after the order.
The only other question that I have, we had a gentleman here at the last court meeting who had some questions concerning the radiation contamination of the folks that went through it and the workers. Did you do some research on that?
Yes, this vendor carries certification with the Commonwealth of Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services, as well as the Kentucky Board of Medical Imaging and Radiation Therapy. They have a rigorous set of regulations to follow, and to our knowledge, all are met and deliver a low-dose X-ray transmission for imaging.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, you've heard all those recommendations. Yes, sir.
There's one more, isn't there?
Which
Oh,
is
that's it.
Yeah, that's the end of it. You've heard the recommendations of the purchasing agent. Do you have any questions in general regarding the awarding of the bids, 21-2016 through 28-2016? Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions. I want to thank Jordan for your research on
Right.
each of these items that at least on the surface don't look like, it's like, hey, how come we're not going with a low bid? And I appreciate your research to justify your recommendation.
Commissioner, I think, yes, and we've been doing that for quite some time, looking at
Yes.
life cycle cost as opposed to initial cost, and it's a real eye-opener sometimes when you take all those things into consideration. Any question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
F, advertise bid number 29, 2016, county government website development, IT.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Commissioners, you know from the very beginning when we were first elected, one of the things that we wanted was to have openness and transparency here at the courthouse. Anybody that's been or visited our website, it's adequate, but it's not probably the best that there is. I see a lot of really snazzy websites on the internet. This is permission to advertise, to bid, and see what the cost of developing a new website would be. Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
G, declare an emergency circumventing the bid process and proceed with procurement of equipment rental services for construction of an expansion of the West Davis County contained landfill.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, as you know, we've had a rainy summer, spring and summer, and we're in the process of constructing a new cell using mostly our own people and equipment. We have run up against the wall, and we're at the point where we need to rent some equipment and the operator for a while. We take bids on equipment and operators every year, but this is going to involve probably, we try not to use those bids as an example. If you can get something done for $100 an hour, that might be good, and we go to that bid list for 8 hours. But if you're going to have 250 hours, you don't want to go to the bid list. We need to make an effort to get perhaps a better price. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to go through that process. We need to get this equipment out there and use every dry day that we can so that we can get the cell ready for the folks to come in and put the liner in. We don't want to go through the winter with what we've already constructed, and then because of the rain, the snow, the freezing, and the thawing, for us to have to go back in and just redo everything. So Claude, we've gone to the county attorney, and we have done this in the past. We've declared an emergency where we circumvent the bid process. And in effect,
I wouldn't describe it as a
well,
circumvention, Judge.
we're not going to do that, but
what
we're going to do,
bid
yes,
process, yeah.
we're not going to award it an open-ended contract on a per-hour basis. That's not the right way to do it. But at the same time, we don't have time to develop specs and advertise and do all the things that we normally would do and get the labor and the equipment in a timely manner. So what we're going to ask is we're going to contact the vendors that normally provide this kind of service for us, and we're going to ask them for a quote based on X number of hours. And then we will go from the quote.
Make a comparison.
We'll make a comparison. I'll turn it over to Jordan, and he'll do an excellent analysis, as he has always done. So what this does is I'm asking that we declare an emergency so that we can go with quotes instead of formal bids. Typically, anything under $20,000, we do quotes anyway.
Yes.
But in this case, it's going to be over $20,000. David, do you have a guesstimate as to what it might be? 50,000. I think we put together
somewhere
something
between 50 and 100.
50 and $100,000.
I know that sounds like a large range, but I've gotten two different figures from Robbie. So
okay. Question or comment?
A question, Judge.
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna get a quote and say just use a number based on 300 hours, and say if it's $100 an hour along with that quote. If it extended more than that, then could we lock them in for that same rate?
Yes, yeah. I think what we might do is ask for a quote on 250 hours, 500 hours, and anything in between. We look at it's a guess as the number of hours that we're going to need. And we're actually looking at 2 pieces of equipment, 2 operators, probably trying it, because it's going to take that in order to get this work done in a timely manner so that these folks who come in and install that liner can do the job.
Can we just bid it, give them an estimated amount of hours, and then say it may go over, and we want to, so stay at that rate till the project's completed?
Yeah,
Can we do
that's
that?
what I was.
Oh, I think they would be happy at that rate, and the more hours, what I'm wanting to do is get a price on a base number, and then if we go double that, perhaps they would give us a better price than that. So, but we will come up with some criteria as to how we would bid it. But what we want to do is tomorrow get the information out so that we can have a quote back sometimes next week and be ready. I'm sitting here. I guess we would have to have a special meeting to approve the quote?
We should, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have to move as quickly as we can. Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
H, contract with Renewable Resources for solid waste disposal.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Smith, do you want to explain this?
Yes, a little over a year ago, Renewable Resources approached us. They were bidding on the contract to handle the solid waste pickup for the Warwick County Solid Waste Management District. And they would want to bring us that trash once they built a transfer station. They need a contract from us because they're going to be borrowing money to build that transfer station. They have to show the bank that they're borrowing money from, that they have a fixed cost for their disposal. They did end up winning that contract. However, I believe there was a court case, and so they've not gotten every single person in Warwick County, but they've contacted me, I think, 2 weeks ago, saying that they were getting enough customers in that they wanted to pursue and build a transfer station and bring us trash. So on that basis, we put together our standard pulled out our standard contract and filled in the blanks.
Okay. The incremental cost is not that great. It's going to bring revenue in, and in the end, what it will do is help hold the rates down for the citizens of Owensboro and Daviess County. There were some questions that have come about our capacity. I think we figured today that we have approximately 50 to 60 years on the permitted space. And that's just the permitted space, the original 60 acres that's permitted. We have 800 plus acres out there. I'm not sure that we could permit all 800 acres, but there's enough space out there to take care of trash for a long time. Any question or comment, Commissioners?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
To add to what you said, in the numbers we're talking about, we had 60 acres permitted. That's probably between 40 and 50 years of service to the county just in that 60 acres. And then we have another 825 acres, something like that. Right. After that. So
it's a lot of land.
A lot of capacity.
Any other comment or question? Comment or question by the public? Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Would you come forward, identify yourself, and then we'll be happy to try to answer your question.
My name's Karen Lasley. I live here in Owensboro. And my question is, what would the cost per ton be for renewables?
I'm sorry?
What would the cost?
It's $20.40 per ton plus the environmental remediation fee.
Environmental fee.
Yes. And that's the same as our Schedule 2 discounted rate, which is for out-of-county trash.
And that's for them delivering it to the landfill, not to the transfer station. If they brought it to the transfer station, there'd be a considerable
we would not allow them to bring it to our transfer.
we wouldn't be able to handle it anyway, probably. Yes, ma'am.
So what type of revenue would we actually, or profit would the county see as opposed
somewhere
to
between
revenue?
$200,000 and $300,000 a year.
In profit or just revenue?
Well, it's revenue, but there's almost no incremental cost. Because
all the equipment is there, the land is there, the employees are there. We hire no new employees, we buy no new equipment. And the good thing is this helps us in the policy that we instituted almost 6 years ago. We don't borrow money out there. It's a pay-as-you-go basis. So it's when you're buying $1 million trash compactors, or as you just saw, you're buying $500,000, $600,000 dozers. It's pretty expensive equipment, but it seems it will benefit all the citizens in Owensboro and Daviess County by allowing us to keep our rates low here. Okay. Any other good questions? Any other question or comments? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I surety release for S&T Latrobe Track Number 2 sidewalks.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Mr. Brasher.
Yes, Judge. The developer has requested the release for sidewalks for this development. This is the Dollar General on Latrobe Avenue. It has been inspected by my office. I recommend approval.
Dollar General on
Carter Road. Carter Road and Latrobe.
Yeah. Okay. Question or comment, Commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
2, consideration for appointment, A, Misty Miller to the Davis County Animal Care and Control Board, term 8/7/16, expiring 8/7/2020.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, this position must be filled by an attorney. Julie Halls Gordon served one term, and I want to thank her for her service. She did a really great job. As a matter of fact, George, wasn't she the chair?
Yes, she was when I was on there.
Yeah, she chaired it for a while. I know Misty Miller, and I want to thank her for her willingness to serve. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, Morgan Baker to the same board, effective 8/7/16 through 8/7/20.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, Morgan is going to replace Teresa Thomas, who served a partial term. I want to thank Teresa for her service. Morgan, it's kind of funny. Morgan has graduated with a degree in vet tech, an associate's degree in our vet tech program, and is going out there. She was extremely excited. She's a young lady, very excited to be included in one of our boards. And if any young people are out there listening and or watching, please give us a call and we'll put you to work. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Consideration for approval, second reading of 7/16, an ordinance relating to the discontinuance of Ratcliffe Road.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Claude, do you need to read this in, or it's already been?
We did read it in. I will briefly describe it
Okay.
again, Judge. It's a discontinuance of approximately, of 0.798 miles between, from Radcliffe Road to Highway 1207. This road actually goes nowhere, and there's not actually a road there, but because
It's a platted right-of-way or a platted, I don't even know if it's a right-of-way. It's not, the engineer's shaking his head, but it just shows the potential to be.
I think it's mentioned in a couple deeds or
Yeah.
referenced,
Yeah.
so they just want
But there's never been a public use of this road
Right.
or any portion of it. We are discontinuing it so that the owners can describe and keep it as a private road.
And we have followed the Kentucky Revised Statutes. We
Yes,
have
Judge.
paid 2 viewers to look at it, and they see no problem with it. It doesn't inconvenience the public in any way.
This road will be closed for public use, but can remain open in accordance with the private use.
Okay. Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
3, consideration for discussion, A, other business
Go ahead.
to be brought before the Davis County Fiscal Court.
And I think we have one, Jenny, that you're not aware of. Commissioner?
Excuse me. Judge, I just wanted,
We're not going to tell you about these things, because we don't want you beating us up.
and I
Go ahead.
wondered why you didn't get to mention this. But anyway, repeater at Utica, we've been working on coming up with a solution. There's the repeater's going to go on the water tower out there at the end of Oric Road, and there's no power to that. Normally, when we use a water tower, there's already a pump there at the water tower, and so we'll have a ready source of electricity for the repeater. And I've been working with Paul Nave over at 911 Central Dispatch, and I think he's prepared to recommend that we use solar to generate that electric. It's a low use. The repeater's very low use, and I would like for us to invite him to do a presentation.
I think we could do that at our next meeting. It'll be on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. if he would come. One of the reasons that we've decided to try solar is that as these emergency channels have changed frequency, We are having more and more problems as our emergency responders get out into the field of having them using their handheld radios and being able to get back to central dispatch. We probably, and we looked at making a deal with a neighbor, but it was going to require a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, and if something happened to that neighbor, then we'd have to go back and do something else. And we've been looking for a way to perhaps test some solar cells, and this is not a lot more than what we think we could do Kenergy for. And we are going to see more and more instances where we will have these repeaters in remote locations where power will not be available. So we thought on this one we might spend a little more money and test it to see how it does. So what I'd like to do is I'll bring Paul in. He can explain what we're going to do, and he can answer any questions that you might have. And we don't need any motion, or it's just, this is more for information. Is that it, Commissioner?
That's it.
Any question or comment?
No.
Okay. Do we have any other business that you don't know about to be brought before court?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
Judge?
Next item. Yes.
We didn't vote on this, excuse me, fence installation out here on the Hayden track. Is that going to be voted on?
On the Hayden track.
Yeah.
See, I had that too.
It's right here.
Let me
It
see.
is off the agenda.
It was off the
It is
agenda.
not on the
Didn't pull
agenda.
that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it on the agenda.
No.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Next item,
We have
public comment.
public comments.
Okay, this is the time during our meeting in which we ask the public to come forward, identify themselves at the podium, and you're welcome to speak on anything other than what might have been on the agenda. Well, Larry, it's certainly nice to see somebody other than you come up here tonight. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Brad Bickett at 5996 Bickett Road. This is my mother at 5990 Bickett Road. And we appreciate the opportunity to be able to bring an issue up to you for consideration this afternoon. There is a culvert that provides entrance to a farm adjacent to my mother's property at 5990 that has been in place for many, many years. I can personally attest that I've mowed the ground over the culvert for the past 20 years. And it was never used for entry or exit into the farmland that's adjacent to it until about 2 years ago. And at that time, it created an issue, a traffic safety issue, in our opinion, due to limited sight distance because it's on the downslope of a hill. And at that time, the concern was brought up to the farmer that was using it. And I want to make a point that it's not the farmer using this entrance, it's laborers, generally speaking, and care is not often taken for the property that belongs to my mother right there at that entry. And at that time, there was very little, if no, cooperation from that effort that we made. We contacted the county engineer, we contacted the county attorney, and the issue, basically it went away once the harvest was complete. There was no need to use that entrance. I want to also add the point that there's another entrance to this same farm about 200 feet further down the road away from my mother's property. So up until 2 years ago, that was the entrance that was used for ingress and egress to the farm. The reason why I'm bringing this up to you now is because last Saturday I was with my wife, my pregnant wife, and my 2-year-old daughter, and as I came over the hill, I had a close call with a truck that was parked not all the way on the culvert, actually sticking out into the road, guy on his cell phone. And I basically said, look, something's got to happen. I believe that Mr. Brasher has a little bit more detail on this. I appreciate the time that he's spent and Mr. Porter spent looking into this. I do believe there's an issue with getting cooperation from the neighboring landowner. And what I'm asking for you, for the commission to do is to take this under advisement, look at it, give it consideration. I believe, just on my estimate, there's about 50 feet only of sight distance when you pull out on that road from the entrance to the field and the top of the hill. I provided some documentation by email. I'm not sure if you all received it prior to this meeting. The only thing additional documentation I have is a picture that I printed off from Google Maps that will give you an idea of where, if I may,
Sure.
This will give you an idea of where the other entrance is. I've marked it on the picture so you can see there is no real reason why the other entrance can't be used. And so with that being said, I don't really have anything else, but that's what we want to bring up to you. Okay.
Ma'am, do you have anything you want to say?
Just to kind of reiterate, we did contact Mr. Brasher back in 2014 initially, and he was going to investigate, follow up, and maybe see what needed to be done, but we really never did get anything done from that.
Let me ask you a question on this printout. The field, is this, Ms. Bickett, is this is your house in the curve?
Yes.
Okay. The field directly behind your house, is that your field, or is it the farmer's?
Farmer's field.
The other farmer's
Yes.
field?
If I
Okay.
may,
Yeah.
She is surrounded by the farm of her late father, who's
Okay.
it's been in the family for 4 generations. So she's surrounded by her farm,
Okay.
adjacent to the farm of.
But what I was asking was, the field directly behind the house is not your field, that's the farmer's field. And that field is the one being accessed by that culvert. And then the other culvert that you're showing up here is going to another field, is that correct?
It's all same it's the same.
Same
field.
farm, but it's
Same farmer, same field.
Okay.
Yes.
What's growing in the field behind your house?
Tobacco right now.
And what's growing in the field where the other culvert goes into?
I think tobacco goes that far too. He has corn.
I think it's beans.
Not beans.
I think it's soybeans.
I think it's corn. I went out there the other day, yeah.
But it's corn.
But I think it's corn,
Okay.
which just, and what I'm gonna do is, I talked to Mr. Brasher. You just heard it, I don't know if you've heard, we've been busy as the dickens with rain, and he has been walking, and he will go out and look at it, and take a look and see if there's anything that we may or may not do. Anyway, and once we do that, we'll get together with Carl and contact you. On the surface, it looks like it's an issue between two neighbors. I don't know, Claude, what you think, but it sounds like it's an issue between two
Well, I don't
neighbors.
remember if this is the same one where I saw where the truck was parked
Yes.
on the road, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's, be it as it may, let's have the engineer look at it, get the information. I'm sure that the commissioners will probably want to go out and look at it the same as I did. And then, we'll get together and see what might be done. There might not be anything we can do on the culvert, but we may be able to put additional signs on the road and those kinds of things to try to make it safe. Throughout rural Daviess County, there are hundreds of these.
For the record,
Yep.
I understand, and
Yep.
and we're a farm. We've come from farm families.
Yeah, yes.
So, and I will also add to
Sure.
elaborate a little bit on Claude's point. One other big issue that I had, my concern was back when this became a problem,
Mhm.
was that the trucks were being parked on top of the hill to protect somebody pulling out to the road. Well, that causes a problem, because if you come up to that truck, you're forced into the other lane to get around that truck on this hill. Just a bad situation. And the property owner does not use this road. I want to emphasize that he does not live there. We use it every day.
I'd call the sheriff if you got a truck parked on that road.
That's what I
Yeah.
understood to be the solution, if
Yeah.
there's one in the road.
Yeah,
So,
I'd call the sheriff, because that shouldn't happen. If you got one parked in that across the culvert and stuck out in the road, I'd call the sheriff.
Yeah, well, I don't remember if that was one where there's, I thought he was parked at the top of the hill, and that was.
And I think you
Yeah.
had a
That's
picture
what
of that,
he's-
yeah.
It was parked on top of the hill.
Yeah.
And you see that.
Right.
But then you can't get around.
Well, there is an ordinance and a rule against parking.
Yeah.
And obstructing the highway, so.
Okay.
But we will look at the engineer, and I'm gonna ask that we get at least a couple weeks. We should be able to do it by then, and then we can take a look at it, talk to us, perhaps come out again and visit with you guys. Commissioner?
I was just gonna say, Mr. Bickett, when you spoke, you mentioned that the lady standing with you is your mother, but you didn't give her name
Oh.
for the record.
Diane Bickett, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Apologize.
That's all right.
All right.
Thank you. all
Any
again.
other questions? Do you have anything else? Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you all.
Thank y'all.
Anyone else? Okay, Jenny, next item.
C, comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Castlin.
Pass.
Commissioner Wathen.
I just want to mention, the last 2 weekends, we've had softball tournaments and baseball tournaments in Daviess County and Owensboro parks. And it's been extremely difficult, but both tournaments were very, very successful, and it was because of the hard work of the people who work in the parks. They did a lot of different things to make it happen, and I got to mention one of them. They even hired a helicopter, and he hovered over one of the baseball diamonds and dried it out. So I mean, I don't know what else you could do, but they made those tournaments happen, and all those young kids got to play ball. But that's pretty crazy, I think, that to go those extremes and be successful to make it happen. So they did it.
And Commissioner, I want to congratulate the CVB. They've done a heck of a job in bringing those tournaments into our community, and particularly the big one where they worked with Evansville, and we had all those folks here.
Yeah, that was 225 teams.
So
And they made it happen, though. They just flat made it happen.
anything else? Commissioner Colger.
Pass.
The only thing that I have is I want to remind everyone that our next court meeting will be August 23rd at 10 a.m. August 23rd at 10 a.m. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate some employees. Katie Jerkowitz has been with us for 5 years. Katie's a payroll and benefits specialist. Stephen Zeffie has been a lieutenant in our fire department for 20 years. Did I get that name right? And Terry Thompson, she's an accounts payable specialist. She came to work here 5 years ago as well. I want to thank them all for the hard work. Jordan, what are you sitting over there? You had a comment you wanted to make? Looked like it. Okay. If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.